here we go, guys. The Last of Us 2, The Last of Us 2, The Last of Us 2. So a few days have passed now. We've all had time to sit, think, reminisce, review and react to our own experiences, other people's experiences, and I think it would be a good opportunity to sit down with a more informed opinion of why I personally had no connection with this game and why it angered me to a point. You know, I'm not an angry person, but it really annoyed me, and I'll get to this. So first of all, as a disclaimer, I just want to let you guys know that, like I said in the original video, I haven't played this game. What I've done is I've watched the entirety of the game being played out by various different players. And the reason why I did this and I didn't pick up a copy myself on launch night was because I'd heard a lot of the rumours, and it didn't sit well with me to go out and spend £50–60 on a game that I had a gut feeling I wasn't going to enjoy. And let's get it right, we as gamers buy games to enjoy them. You don't buy a game to sit there and not enjoy it. It's an experience, it's a piece of art, and everyone has their own subjective opinion about these pieces of art, but for me, I buy games to be immersed into an amazing world storyline that I know I will enjoy. And unfortunately, I just had a gut feeling about this one, and even more unfortunately, that gut feeling came true. In fact, I think looking back now, what happened in reality on the game is probably worse. I think it is worse than what I actually thought it was going to be, and I'll get to these points. So the first things first, and this is why this game annoyed me, not just the game but how it was launched. After the rumours came out, the embargo was so strict, stricter than a lot of other games, as to what the professional reviewers could tell people, show people, what they couldn't tell people and couldn't show people. If you ask anyone that you know has any dealings with this sort of thing in the industry, they will probably tell you that The Last of Us is up there with the most embargoed games of all time. Also, what they did is, with the professional reviewers that they put in place, so I'm on Metacritic right now, and according to this, you know, the Metascore based on 97 critical reviews or critic reviews came in 95 out of 100. It gets worse. I'll put the picture up here. The user score, however, 3.9 out of 10 based on just under 50,000 reviews. Yes, granted, you're going to have some of those people that are going to be jumping on a bandwagon because of all of the hate for the game. Yes, I get that. But there's also a lot of fanboys out there that still won't admit how bad the game was, and they're going to bump that score up. So when you actually take that average, 3.9 is probably about right. The 95 by critic reviews, that's shaky to say the least. And what is even more troubling is who these critics are. Some of them are really, really household names, and it troubles me, because I'm worried now that am I being lied to for the big release of other games coming up. But leaks will always get out, fans will always tell people the truth, whether they like it or not, and thank God for sites like this. That's all I can say, because a lot of people would go out thinking it was a 95 rating. Of course, you know, you make up your own mind about it. Anyway, so there's the rating. So that's my first gripe. The second gripe was in the trailers and all of the spots that Naughty Dog and Sony released, and all the rest of it. They showed a lot of Joel. They showed a lot of Joel. It was Joel and Ellie. It was Joel and Ellie. In my mind, it was Joel and Ellie, until I saw some spoilers come out. until I saw some leaks. And there is clearly, and this is a fact, there are cutscenes in the game trailers and game clips where Joel is present and has a script that in the game is not him. Is not him. And yeah, you could say, oh, Marvel do the same thing. You know, they had the Hulk in Avengers Infinity War running out the woods. Not the same. Not the same. Not the same. So Marvel do it to try and steer you away slightly, just to hint, because it was a mammoth of a movie. We were all skepticising what's going to be what. We were all, you know, it's the different animal. They weren't lying to us. There weren't TV spots coming out with Hulk saying smash and beating Thanos over the head with a stick. Didn't happen. It did with this, and that was my issue. So, to the game. Gameplay. Gameplay for me it's important, but for me, like I said at the start of the video, a lot of it is about the story, being immersed in a world, and the payoff. Love it. And the gameplay for me seemed very samey towards the first versus the first game, and despite them implementing a few different things which were really cool, by the way, like the new melee controls that you could do, where honestly sometimes it looked like ballet. It looked like a really well choreographed dance, where yeah, they'd implemented these new mechanics in there, and you know, Ellie was there and Abby as well. You know, so they had some cool moves kicking about there. The fact that you could go prone in this one was a big plus, that you couldn't do that last time, sneaking through cracks. It was all cool stuff, but it was very samey. The weapon mechanics, what you could and couldn't do to characters, despite a few additional melee attacks, like I've said, and stealth attacks. It all seemed the same. It all seemed the same. Which I get, because they didn't want to steer away too much from the original game because of the fan support they had. But I think Naughty Dog probably got it wrong. I think they got it wrong. The sound was brilliant. It was immersive. It was sharp where it needed to be. It was dull where it needed to be. The scripts were great. Not the script, sorry. The voiceover work was great. The scripts were awful, and we'll get to that. And they did what any great game does in this sort of world. It was immersive. The look of the game was incredible. You'd be an idiot if you did not say that this game took you into another world because it looked so amazing. It was incredible. For me, what I loved about this, especially with the look of it and the mechanical side of the game, was towards the start of the game where you're Joel on horseback and you can almost freely move around like a semi-open world while still keeping a linear path through the storyline. I loved that. It hinted on a few of the bits that they did in the first game, where you could walk around some of the towns that were a bit overgrown, and eventually obviously steering in into one linear point where you just continue with the story. It was the best parts about the game, in my opinion. So that was great. But the story let it down. And listen, I'm not one of these fans where I was angry that Joel died, because I would have been okay with him dying if he died for the right reasons. And not just that, but I would have even been okay if he died for the wrong reasons, but we got the payoff at the end. You with me? Yeah. We just didn't. We just didn't. There were things like Joel met Abby, saved her from the infected, right? Wanders into this house with you know, it was just a room full of her people there, he wouldn't have done that. He wouldn't have done that. He was so cautious in the first game. So cautious. And even with his friends, he was cautious. There was no way he would have done this. He just wouldn't have. It was out of character. And it was to drive a narrative that the fans didn't want, but the writers did. So, he was killed. So then every player playing this and everyone watching this was automatically assuming that, okay, this is a fucking revenge film. This is a revenge game, sorry, where we're gonna take some names and we're gonna get to her. And we did, in a way. So we did take names. Ellie took names. Like, there was a lot of people in her path. Some, may I add, you really had to question Ellie's motives as to why she killed these people, because some of her decisions were laughable. At one point, she kills a pregnant woman. That's not Ellie. That's not Ellie. She was so dark in this game, and the whole tone of it, it was so bleak. It didn't let you up for air at any point. Whereas like the first game, you were introduced to some characters here and there that allowed you to come up for that breath, you know? They put a smile on your face for a short period or not, they did. And then, like, right, bam, getting back into it. And you did, you cracked on, and then another couple of hours went by and you were let up for air again. This game you weren't. It was so bleak, and the whole tone of this throughout the whole story was so depressing. You know, bar a very small handful of cutscenes that weren't so much uplifting, but just a step out of the normal bleakness, the extra bleakness. You were just hit with a bit of bleak. So that I didn't really enjoy. But carrying on with the storyline, it was the way that they treated Joel. That was one of the biggest reasons why I didn't buy a copy of this game, and I didn't like the game. The second one for me was Abby as a playable character. I didn't actually mind her as an antagonist, because a daughter seeking revenge for a father was basically what Ellie ended up doing for Joel. So I got it, I understood it. However, don't introduce us to a new character that we have no affiliation with or no feelings towards, and no real backstory, and then cut halfway in between the game, like Metal Gear 2 did when Raiden's running down the tunnel, and then all of a sudden expect us to play as this character that's just murdered the most beloved character in the entire franchise, and then be okay with it. It was arrogant. It was arrogant, and it was misguided, and it was the wrong decision. We shouldn't be playing as Abby, or if we were playing with Abby, give us some backstory first. Let us into her world through some cutscenes. Do something different. But they didn't. They just threw us in there, her boots, and expected us to crack on. And they were forcing their narrative, so they were trying to get us to the point where we'd finished those 3 days playing as Abby, with the mindset of, oh, her dad was a hero and Joel's a monster. Now I don't know who to believe. Oh, I hope Abby's in the next game. No, you're misguided, Naughty Dog, because it's almost like you forgot what made the first game great. It was the relationships and the characters. It wasn't the fact that you could run around and shoot zombies in the head and everything was dark and twisted. If you just want that, you can go and play COD Zombies. You can do whatever you want. The fact that these characters were so well written and so diverse, and the relationship arcs between Ellie and Joel were so great, and the people you met on the way, the side characters, were so cool and funny and uplifting, and all of that is what made the first game for me. And that just wasn't carried out. It was just all thrown out the window. There isn't one character in this game, new character, that I can hand on my heart say I remember, and I want to remember. There really isn't. There really isn't, and that includes Abby. So it takes us to this point then, when you're on your quest for revenge, and Ellie's taking all these names, killing people along the way, including pregnant women. And she finally gets to Abby, and there's a scene there where Abby basically kicks the shit out of you, and then is told to leave you. So you're like, oh right, okay, so we've got to now there's going to be a round 2, we have to go and track her down again, blah blah blah, what's going to change at this point? Nope, that's when you just jump into Abby. Okay, so you crack on with all that, you think her dad's a hero, you think Joel's a scumbag, which you don't, because people forget that her dad was a scientist of Firefly, who had also killed many children in the past trying to extract what's the word I'm looking for? A cure. Trying to extract a cure. Or at least the immunity in them, so that people wouldn't get infected. And the fact that she wanted to kill Joel because he killed her dad, I really do. I do understand that. But then you also have to understand that as a player, we're going through the same thing, because Joel's not just been Ellie's dad, but he's been our dad through it, because Joel is the one taking us on this journey. So we've all got the same shared commitment that we want to end up taking Abby's life in the game. So we do Abby, we do that whole thing, and then it jumps again, another weird time warp. Fine, okay. And we find out she's still alive, we've got a location, sweet, round 2, let's do this. We get to her, and then the ending. The ending, we let her go. We let her go. So at this point in her life, she looks back and says, do you know what, in hindsight, I shouldn't have killed all of those people to get to this person that killed my dad. I'm going to leave it. Thanks, but no thanks. Well, that might be fine in an actual post-apocalyptic world where people are taking control of these characters and expect some sort of payoff. But that's not the case. We are invested fans in this franchise that wanted retribution for what happened to Joel. Not just that, but Ellie being so dark and bleak in this film and the things in this game and the things that she'd done leading up to this point made you believe that the writers have written her in a way where there's no way she's going to let this girl go. She will kill her. And then all of a sudden she becomes this saint where she says no. That's not the character that you're trying to rewrite. It seems like Naughty Dog really messed up with how they wrote these characters in. Because from what I saw, not just once but multiple times I've gone back and watched certain scenes, the characters are written so poorly. So 1 second Ellie will say something, but then there's a huge plot hole where there'll be another scene further down the game and she'll do completely the opposite. You think, well, hang on, those two didn't marry up, but they're within the space of 3 days. You know, make your mind up. You know, who do you want these characters to be, and where are you trying to take us? So to summarise, for me, there was a really poor storyline with plot holes. The characters were misrepresented, in my opinion, to what they were in the first game. And even though people evolve and change, they still have core ethos and values. And these values just seem to have been retconned in this game to force a narrative that Sony and Naughty Dog wanted this game to take. And that was a game of redemption and diversity. That's all it was. Let's have two lead women, and let's kill off the man at the start, because that's what society says we need to do right now. I got zero complaint about being a female character. I liked playing as Ellie. I genuinely did. There's so many different characters out there. There's Metroid Prime, female, awesome character. Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, Resident Evil. You've got all of these women that are badasses. So to say that that audience doesn't exist is just a lie. What I think most people have an issue with is the way we were forced into this box instead of it just organically happening. So yeah, in a nutshell, this is the reason why I dislike the game. Great visuals, great sound, some decent mechanics, weren't really built on too much, but they were there. Storyline really poor, character development really poor, payoff non-existent. It's like playing Mario Kart and breaking down halfway down the track. That's what it was. That's what it was like. That's what it was like. It was just, for me, it didn't resonate with me. It didn't. Hey, and this is just subjective, guys. You might have had a completely different feel and feeling towards the game if you watched it or played it. For me, that's how I felt. Don't shoot me. This is it. Well, if you're fans of the game, you probably won't shoot me because you've got such affiliation with the word redemption. Anyway, let me know what you guys thought about the game. Did you like it? Hey, listen, if you really liked it, post a sensible comment below and let me know why. Let me know why, because I'm not a donkey, you know. I'll sit in here. I'll listen. I'll listen to people. If you've got an opinion, pop it down, and I'll genuinely take it on board. We might not agree about certain things, or we might not agree about anything. However, as two sensible people, I'm sure we can sit down and have that open discussion, can we? So, guys, I just wanted to say thanks for hearing me out on that, because it seems to have divided a lot of fans on this one. I think it is the Season 8 Game of Thrones of gaming. I know you guys have probably seen that floating about, or the the Last Jedi of The Last of Us. The Last Jedi of Us? Who knows? Anyway, guys, thank you. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, like, share, comment, hit the bell. Hit the bell. That way you'll never miss a trick when it comes to my channel, okay? Right, here's to 1 million subscribers.